what is the thing that happened that taught you the lesson that you should escalate faster? Marcus actually had a debate recently with Eric Kohlberg, Mystery's wingman, on this, but conveniently, Marcus is here to throw in some ideas there.
Yeah, the lesson, I mean, just feedback from girls, right? Like, don't get me wrong, when I started in a game, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. One of the things that I quite fondly remember is going on dinner dates with girls back in the day. And I never thought girls would want to have sex on the first night. Like, I just dinner date and then I'd go home and I was completely fucking oblivious. And then one girl basically just told me, like, hey, we should like continue this date. And in my head, I was like, what the fuck? Like, we just finished dinner. It was like 2 hour date or something. Like, what do you mean continue? And I was like, all right, I guess like we can go for a walk. And so like I take this girl and we like go for a walk down the harbor. And then I'm like, okay, well, yeah, it was nice meeting you. I'll message you. She's like, oh, we're ending it already. And I'm thinking like, well, this is what fucking want from me. I took her to dinner. I'm taking her for a walk. I was like, like, what the fuck? Like, no. And I was like, I didn't know what else to do. So I was like, okay, bye. And yeah, I got feedback off this girl later on. I ended up like seeing her for a while. And she's like, yeah, that first night, why didn't you just take me home? I was like, what do you mean take you home? And so yeah, I mean, obviously getting feedback of girls. I asked them, this is the one question I asked. So I'm like, at what point did you decide that you wanted to have sex with me? Okay. I've asked this to I don't know how many hundreds of women. And it's always super surprising. Like you'll have some girls that give you these concerns and objections and like stonewall, like a lot of that. And then they'll tell you like fucking like 30 minutes into knowing you. And I was like, what the fuck? And so I realized like, look, the biggest thing here is not that women don't want to have sex quickly or not that I don't want to have sex with you or, you know, you need to wait fucking 8 hours or some bullshit. It's just that they have a perception they're trying to protect. And a lot of the time, they don't want to look like a slut and they don't want to look easy. And it's as simple as that. If you can manage to get over these things, and obviously you need the fundamentals of actually being attractive and actually her wanting to have sex with you. But if you get over those, then yeah, you can have sex really early and women appreciate that. And otherwise, if you wait a very long time, you're just feeding into that slut shame. You're basically just telling them like, yes, you should wait. Yes, this is what I expect of you. And it just ends up with you know, shitty long friend zoney interactions. So yeah, from feedback from women, it just told me don't waste time.
Yeah, I would say when I was younger, being super indirect, which is a waste of time basically because women they already know if they want to sleep with you basically. So all women want to get down. It just depends on the guy talking to them. So if I'm talking to a girl and she's like, "Oh, let's wait. I got to get to know you," right? She's gonna meet another guy tomorrow and have sex with him in a bathroom somewhere in somewhere just in 10 minutes. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's the same girl, two different guys. So depending upon the guy, if she's attracted to that guy, she's gonna do it as quick as possible when he wants to do it, how he wants to do it, and all that other good stuff. You see what I'm saying? So the problem with a lot of guys is that they think that women are different. Women are only different based on the guy they're talking to. You understand what I'm saying? But essentially, all women are the same in the sense that any guy they're talking to that they're highly sexually interested in, they will have sex with that guy as soon as possible. So guys think that there's two different. I always say women are like Superman. You know, it's like Clark Kent and then Superman. It's the same person, but the situations are just different. You see what I'm saying? So that because I actually have a story. There's a guy that I knew who used to throw parties, and this dude kept telling me about, like, I would see him, around because I would go to different events or whatever. He was like, "Yo, I'm throwing this party. You should come through next week, blah, blah, blah." So when I saw him, I kept seeing him maybe a good few times within a 2 week span. And he kept telling me about this girl. He's like, "Yo, this girl I've been seeing, man. She's different than the others, and blah, 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 oh, she's a different type of girl, whatever, whatever." So next thing you know, I go to the party and he's telling me, yeah, she's not like one of these like hoes out here, she's a good girl, all that stupidness. So long story short, I go to the party. He introduces me to the girl. The girl he introduced me to was a girl I slept with on the first night like 2 or 3 months ago. You know what I'm saying? So now he says this girl told him that she don't get down like that. She likes to take it slow. It's the same girl, two different stories. That's basically what it is.
Yeah,
100%.
man.
Any other comments?
I've had very similar lessons to that. Where back in the day when Tinder first come out, and this chick invited me round to her house for the first date. And I hadn't fully started learning what game was about, so I couldn't read the signs at all. And we're talking, and it's all going well, and she's sitting closer and closer next to me. And I'm sat there having a friendly conversation for about 2 hours, literally. And it gets to the point where she's like, okay, so I've probably only got about an hour, then I'm going to have to leave. And I was so unattuned. The way I took that was a hint that she wanted me to leave. So I was like, okay, right, I'll finish this drink and then I'll leave. So I messaged her, completely unbeknownst that she wanted to get down. And she was like, I didn't really understand what that was about. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, the fact that I invited you round to my house and I kept sitting closer to you and rested my arm on you, I thought it was abundantly obvious what I wanted you to do. And I was like, oh, right. I figured it out. She wanted me to make a move on her and take her to the bedroom, which I didn't do because I wasn't recognizing the signs. And then I tried to make it up. She's like, oh, it's too late now. It's too late. So I never saw that chick again. Some of the other lessons is literally I've been talking to a girl in a club, really attracted to her, like the heat is on. And because I've just neglected to pull the trigger, get physical, lead, go in for the kiss, link arms, whatever it's going to be, I've gone to the toilet and some other guy's putting it on her more intensely and she's ended up going off with that guy. So you learn from the pain. And the way you got to look at it, if you're new to this and you're not comfortable with escalation, you might think that conversation is going good. But if you at some point very soon don't have the ability to just pull the trigger, get physical and go for it, the girl's going to get bored. You're either going to get friend zoned, or if you're in a club, the types of girls that are going out to get laid, they're just going to move on to someone who's more confident. So I had a lot of hard lessons with that. And that's why I spent about a year when I was practicing this skill, just completely working on my physical game, working on my escalation, where I got to a point where I could consistently tap a girl on the shoulder. Not every single girl, but every single night I went out and kiss a girl without even speaking to her. I done it last weekend. It's like, you got to work on the escalation game. You got to get comfortable with that because that's a necessary part of building a connection with a woman.
I could see on the guys' faces of pretty much everyone on the panel a few minutes ago when you were saying about not picking up the signs. I think all of us have fucking been there. That's so fucking relatable. Oh man.
But that's
Yeah,
that's the cut that's the cut that hurts the most. You're like, oh man, I misread that to the fucking bullshit. That's the one that you can remember. As you're telling, I could see you're just like, you can even like relive it again. You're like, oh my God, how did I be so fucking stupid?
I think all of us were having fucking flashbacks a few minutes ago.
Because you know what it is?
Yeah.
It's a lot of it is conditioning from dealing with women who were never really that interested in you. So for example, if I talk to 3 or 4 girls in a row and all of them say something similar like, hey, I got to get to know you more. Hey, I like to take it slow. They're saying that to me because I'm not that guy for them. So in my mind, this is just how women are. You know what I'm saying? So I got to flow with them. I got to get them comfortable. But I just don't realize that I'm just interacting with women who aren't highly sexually attracted to me, because the ones who are not going to say that. They're just going to actually be way more assertive or trying to make it happen with you when you're trying to make it happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, facts. But I think a big thing for me, without the escalation aside, physical escalation, was like mental escalation for me, which was a big one that I found that really changed a lot of things, was assuming attraction. So instead of just going into every interaction, just being like, oh, this is a pleasant thing. Yeah, I'm getting super excited about just talking to a girl, being like, no, like, of course she's attracted. Most girls are attracted. And just by a law of averages, I think coming into a lot of mindsets, maybe whether it's a nightclub, talking to her in the daytime, maybe on Tinder, maybe on Instagram, the law of averages, you're going to have more success just thinking, well, the bare minimum of her talking to me, she must be attracted to me. And just by that, you start to exhibit signs that are attractive. It's kind of like a feedback loop where the guy's like, oh, maybe she's interested, maybe she's not. He's like low vibration, he's low confidence, exhibiting the signs. And then she starts to relay that back to him where she's not interested. So I kind of had this idea. I was like, okay, well, if I assume that she is attracted, I start to exhibit signs of like, I'm comfortable, I'm relaxed, I'm not trying to force anything or the pace of it. I'm really creating a really enjoyable environment, not only for me, but for her. bang, that's where I saw a lot of attraction really go, and a lot of girls where it was easier for me to escalate, maybe physically, even verbally, because it was that I don't like the word not comfortable, but it is a really relaxed environment where you feel yourself. You're not trying to be this other character that you think she likes. You're actually just trying to exhibit yourself, a good version of yourself, maybe not a shitty version of yourself. But yeah, that was a big thing for me, assuming attraction a lot of the time.
Yeah. There is an element of projection here as well. It's like when you're on a date with a woman that you're really attracted to, you think she's cut from a different cloth. So you play it safe, and you pull out the big guns and the special lines. And it's like, we used to have a quote in our seminar, a section in our seminar I used to run. It's like, women want to fuck. And you've got to go into every single date and every single interaction with that as a mindset. They're biological creatures like we are. They might hide it more due to the anti-slut, the fet, or whatever you want to call it. But at the end, they might be more prudish. They might want to come across classy because they're attracted to you. Their defenses towards escalation and sexuality might be even further up, but that's not a bad thing. At the end of the day, a woman is going on a date to flirt, to have sexual communication, to get physical. And if you're in this headspace where, oh, this one's particularly special, or, it's like the self, the self can't afford to be in the way of the process. And at the end of the day, if you like her, the worst mistake you could make is hold back and try and play it tame, try and play it safe and be extra tame, because the woman's going to put you in the friend zone. I truly believe that every single guy, the reason he gets put in the friend zone is his lack of ability to pull the trigger and just go for it. So I go on dates with some girls sometimes, and we might not have a compatibility, but I'm never put in the friend zone. I'm always a sexual being. I'm always forthcoming about how I want this date to go down. So, you've got to permit yourself to get physical, because the longer you leave it, the more you hesitate, the more you try and play the safe game. It's like, it doesn't equate to what you think it's going to do. And I know it's difficult, especially if you haven't got the experience for some of the beginner guys, but you've got to get that escalation, that physicality, the skill with doing that. You got to get that down. And it's going to take a little bit of blind faith and stepping in the unknown to just reach out and sometimes grab that girl's hand, stroke her hair, kiss her face, link arms, whatever that's going to be. Because if you don't do it, you're going to forever stay in the friend zone.
Absolutely.
To tell you
I
that
agree.
go ahead. Oh, no,
Sorry.
actually, I'll just
I was gonna say, real quick, assuming attraction. I love what Sam said about that. And obviously, if she's on a date, like Dean said, she's attracted to you. There's a reason why she shaved her legs, right? Got a new dress, perhaps. Spent time to text you, call you, whatever. Go on this date. Set time aside for you. She doesn't want you to be a meeting, right? She doesn't want to get bored. And quite simply, if she's comfortable with you, then that escalates attraction. So in order for that to happen, you have to be comfortable with her. So expressing how you feel, sharing things with her to gain that trust. It doesn't take 6 dates to escalate. You can get the same level of comfortability on the first date. And that's what I learned from my sales background, is that so people buy from you whenever they trust you. You can sell the same product as someone else, but they're going to go with you because they can relate to you and trust you. And that's how, it goes.
To tie in Dean and Lucario's comments, I'm thinking in terms of leadership, and like Lucario was saying, conditioning. As men, we are conditioned to follow when we're younger. Like when we're kids, our parents feed us. Now, when we're adults, we need to feed ourselves. So there's a point in people's lives, especially in the intermission, but some people don't get this in terms of their dating lives, because there was never dating when you were a kid, unless you were very unlucky. But Ansel. But we're essentially conditioned to follow when we're children because the adults are in charge of the decisions. However, now that we are the adults, we need to be the ones doing the leading. And because we are the men, the women are looking to us to lead. So like Dean's example and many other examples we've been hearing under this question, a lot of women are just looking for us to make the move, but we're too dumb sometimes to see the signs, especially when you don't have that kind of experience. Like all of us were cringing when we were hearing that stuff about, oh, I didn't see the signs. She was talking to me for 2 hours and she was like, oh shit. I had that exact same fucking situation. And I can't remember who mentioned it. Maybe it was Lucario or something. She went to the bathroom and then she went with some other guy who escalated faster. I had the same fucking situation. And those are the ways that I learned too. So that's kind of funny that it's so relatable to a lot of us. But ultimately, we need to realize that we are the ones who need to do the leading. I run a YouTube channel. I'm not waiting for other people to make videos. I need to make the videos. And if you have a career and you're taking orders from your boss, maybe your role doesn't have that much leadership, but you're depending on the leadership above you to know what to do. You need to snap out of that in these other aspects of life, especially dating, and understand that you are the one who needs to take the bull by the horns and milk the cow yourself. And I don't know what other kind of stupid metaphors I'm going to give, but I'll leave it there. Leadership is ultimately a highly important thing. Of course, leading too hard can be a problem, but not leading at all is the worst fucking thing you can do. Any other comments on this?
Yeah. The limit in mind, when you're on a date with a girl or you've just approached that girl and you know that you should be pulling the trigger, it's like the part of yourself that doesn't want to risk it because it's going well. You're on a date, you're having a nice conversation, you got some compatibility there. And it's like the limit in mind will tell you if you get physical, you might ruin it because the conversation's pleasant, it's fluffy, it's nice. What you have to realize is if you don't get physical or you don't escalate it in some sort of sexual way with your eye contact, with your energy, with your intention, that's going to fizzle out. And it's like, I remember being approaching a girl in a club, long time ago again, before I was a master. But yeah, I remember approaching a girl in a club and I got a number and we spent about an hour together, but I was backing off and I wasn't escalating. I wasn't permitting myself to pull the trigger. She ended up going off with some other guy. And I was so frustrated about it. You're talking about like 12 years ago. I messaged her. I was like, if we were having such a good chat, if we were getting onto, well, why did you go off with that other guy? And she was like, I didn't think you were interested in me in the end. And this guy just come out of nowhere and just started kissing her straight away. So I've had so many hard lessons of how important it is to move into that physical dynamic that, I'm never going to make that mistake again. It's like one of you guys said, you can see the frustration on my face. I remember these painful moments of when I lost so many girls I was interested in because I'm stood there like a rabbit in the headlights, not willing to permit myself to get physical. And it's like, you've got to permit yourself, like you said, you've got to take the lead. It's your responsibility as a man. The woman is not going to walk you into romance. The woman is not going to walk you into a sexual dynamic. You've got to permit yourself to do it and have blind faith that when you pull that trigger, it's going to work out okay.
Yeah, that's true. And also on a date, that it automatically 100% means that she's interested. And sometimes women will use you for attention, for an ego boost. They'll use you for money, for dates, and all these other things. So this is why it's important to see, is this woman that I'm sexually attracted to, right? And if you know you're sexually attracted to her, is she also sexually attracted to me? Do you see what I'm saying? And so this is why you have to be able to interact with her and flirt, build sexual tension, do those things immediately so you don't end up wasting time. So what a lot of guys will do is they'll go on a date with a girl like 2, 3, 4, 5 dates, only to find out later she says, oh, you seem cool, I just don't feel a connection, and now it goes nowhere. So what I usually do is when I'm talking to women, it's the sexual talk and interactions happen immediately. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's I meet the woman in person, like on a street, at the bar, club, or even online. So my online dating profile is sexual, because what I want to know is this woman sexually interested? Because if she's not, I don't want to waste any time with her. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not here to be your friend. You feel what I'm saying? If I'm interacting with you and I'm vetting you and seeing what's going on, I'm seeing, is this a girl that I will have this sexual relationship with? And if that's not the case, then she doesn't need to be there. So what I try to teach guys is that you have to, as soon as possible, make the interaction between you and the woman sexual so that she'll show her hand. So a lot of guys don't know how to let a woman show their hand, and then therefore they end up wasting a lot of time with a woman who was never actually interested in them sexually in the first place, which is unfortunate. You know what I'm saying?
All right.